Another episode of Heroes of the Golden Age. We've got another new show to premiere tonight. This is The Avengers. Now, before you get too excited, we're not talking about Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, that team of Avengers. No, this is a different team of Avengers, one that predates them by about 2 years. This is a BBC property that features two super spies. There's been a few variations as far as to who makes up the team, but I'm not honestly too super familiar with the specifics of the series. It wasn't something that I actually ever really watched, but I have seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes over the years, and it's been a long time. So I'm not super knowledgeable about this one. So a lot of this is going to be kind of new to me too. So if you're not very familiar with it, we'll experience it together. So let's get into the first episode. And hang on one moment. Got just a little something. Hang on. I will be right back in just a moment. Fuck. Okay, folks, we're back. Sorry about that. As some of you may know from some of the other shows, I do have 2 kitties, and they are like my kids. One of them, he's a little mischievous. He managed to lock himself in the bathroom and got a little panicky, so I had to go help him. So I do apologize for the interruption, but like I said, those are like my kids. So if they need help, I'm there for them. So let's get back to this. We've got episode 1 of The Avengers. Let's dig in and kind of see what this version's all about.
Now, from the makers of Cold Water Omo,
2 men in monks' cassocks moved silently down the stone passageway of Old Hill Monastery. They opened and closed a heavy Gothic door and walked across the carpeted room. One of the men removed his monk's robe, revealing the uniform of a colonel in the British Army.
Nearly 12 o'clock, Baxter. Yes, Colonel James. Better do a round. Take a walkie-talkie and report back. Very good.
Baxter helped himself to a walkie-talkie from the cupboard and left Colonel James to some paperwork on the desk. A short while later, in the passageway beneath, Baxter paused at each of the monk's cells. They were all heavily bolted on the outside, for Old Hill Monastery was a prison for captured spies.
The Avengers. John Steed and Emma Peel, The Avengers.
Once an Omo user, always an Omo user, because it gets out the worst dirt and stain. Mrs. Francis of Port Elizabeth found that Omo cleaned her husband's bathing trunks.
He used to come home and they'd be marked and splodged with tar and oil from our beaches. Well, he wanted to throw them away first. Well, he'd soak them overnight in cold water Omo, and the next day they were shimmering white again.
Cold water Omo cleans best. Over 1 million South African housewives have proved it.
Walls Ice Cream presents the new Pink Pussycat song.
We dropped your breath and it up, top and hop. That's on inside. White milky chocolate the way you like. All over the outside, where walls Pink Pussycat now.
Episode 1 of this story, in which John Steed and Emma Peel celebrate a little too soon, and an enemy makes a killing and a clean getaway. Old Hill Monastery is a small but formidable Gothic structure with battlements and turreted windows. It sits sedately in the fields near Marlow and commands a clear view of the Thames. To the inhabitants of the nearby towns, it is thought of as a closed order of holy monks. But it is staffed by highly trained army officers and contains over 100 of the most dangerous captured enemy agents in all England. Lieutenant Baxter, pulling his monk's robe more tightly around him, moved down the passage, looking in at each of the grills.
There's Dorf. Yes, he's reading as usual. Lubin. Playing chess again. How a man can play chess against himself beats me. Who wins? Rostov? You hear me? Show yourself.
Baxter, peering into one of the cells, was unable to see the inmate. Without hesitation, he switched on the walkie-talkie and reported the fact to Colonel James.
Baxter to Colonel James.
Come in, Baxter. What is it?
I can't see Rostov in his cell.
You think he may have passed out in the bath?
Maybe. I can't tell for sure. I can only see the frosted glass partition.
All right. Well, you better carry out a routine thickness check.
Baxter immediately removed the monk's robe and took a service revolver from its holster.
Ready when you are, sir.
Give the password.
Apricot.
In his office, Colonel James leaned forward and pressed a button on the panel. The bolts on cell number 3 slid back automatically. Baxter squared his shoulders, tensed his muscles, kicked open the door, and entered the cell in a practiced rush.
Let's have you.
Baxter, confident and alert, peered around the cell. He moved across to the bathroom. It was empty. So was the rest of the cell. Quite empty. The figure of the prisoner seemed to appear by magic through the wall.
What the devil?
Before Baxter could recover from his surprise, Rostov landed a terrific blow, knocking him over the table. In his office, Colonel James heard the sound over the walkie-talkie.
Baxter! What's happened, Baxter?
Alarm. Sound alarm. Rostov. Taken my gun. I'd escaped.
Colonel James moved like lightning. His hand went out and set the alarm bells ringing. Instantly, from all over the monastery, men began running at the double to the cell.
There! There he goes! Get him!
Rostov, at the end of the passageway, whipped off a few warning shots and raced to the next corridor.
But there's no one there. Just a blank wall. He couldn't have got away. It disappeared.
John Steed was having a party in his apartment. It was a small reunion. Steed had two old pals, fellow agents, Paul Ryder and George Neville. The three men were in dinner jackets. Mrs. Peel was with them, wearing a stunning full-length gown. It was all very smart and select, and it had got the last drink and cigar stage.
Indeed. Did you ever see anything more of that Admiral, what was his name? Pebbly chap, heavy breather.
Oh, surely that description can fit any admiral in the British Navy.
Not quite sure who you mean, Paul.
I want to propose a toast. Oh, you must remember the old boy.
A toast, I insist. All right, a toast. To our benevolent host, the man you can always trust, the man you can always rely on, to the man with...
With the wooden leg.
Eh? Steed hasn't got a wooden leg. Have you, Steed? If you have, I must say you can't off very well. I'd never have guessed.
Admiral Corman, that's who I was thinking.
Ah, yes, Corman. Yes, of course I remember. I give you John Steed. Oh, glass is empty.
Oh, let me.
Thank
John Steed.
Yes, John Steed. And another toast to John Steed's partner in crime. I must say, Steed, you certainly know how to pick 'em. She's delectable. She's delicious. She's
also a dab hand with a caviar canopy.
Gentlemen, I give you Emma Peel. Emma Peel. And another toast.
No, it's my turn. To Paul Ryder and George Neville. We trained together, we fought together, and I hope we'll remain together for many years to come.
Steed drank and shattered his glass in the fireplace. The simplicity and sincerity of his speech moved them all. Out of a pause, George Neville said,
Oh, dear. It's gone all solemn. Positively sepulchral.
That'll never do, will it?
No, because we've never been solemn. Not even in the tightest spot. Not even during the EBA, Steve, remember that?
Oh, yes. The EBA.
Ah, the EBA.
The EBA? European bombing attack?
The exploding bootlaces affair.
Then there was the DCP.
DCP?
The diabolical cipher plan.
And the GAP.
Fill that gap in for me, will you please, Steve?
The great assassination plot.
And what about the GTR?
Ah, yes, the GTR.
We couldn't possibly overlook the GTR.
Great train robbery?
Granny Tittyfeather's rum, homemade.
Kicked like a mill.
Fortified us during dawn vigils.
Yes, and talking of dawn, I think it's time I was off.
Oh, no, one more, surely.
No, it's gone 5, you know.
5 in the morning? Oh, it can't be, surely.
Mrs. Peel moved to the window and drew aside the curtains. The cold light of dawn flooded into the room. Down in the street, the mews was deserted.
Well, it's home with the milkman then, isn't it? I think our walk is not far, and it'll do me good. Well, thanks for everything, Steve. Next time to my place. Goodbye, Emma. Great pleasure meeting you. See you all again soon. I can let myself out, so don't worry. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, old chap.
Bye.
Well, how about you, George, old man?
Well, I'm very easily led, and the prospect of even 5 minutes more with the delectable Mrs. Peel.
I agree. Another bottle?
Well, thank you both. I'll join you. Delicious. Champagne at dawn. It's quite the nicest time.
Mrs. Peel looked down into the street and saw the stocky figure of Paul Ryder walk down the mews in the direction of the park. She didn't see another man standing silently in the shadows watching Steed's apartment. Sometime later...
And now, I really must go. It's been a memorable night, Steed. Made doubly memorable by your presence, Mrs. Peel.
Why, thank you.
And, as Paul says, we must all do it again very soon. That is, if enemy agents permitting, of course.
Well, that's always true. I'm sure I can't run you somewhere. Car's in the garage. Won't take a minute.
No, I won't hear of it. I'll grab a taxi at the end of the road. Here's the coat. Bye, Emma. Stay beautiful. Bye, Steve. Call you later in the week.
Yes, do that. Bye, George.
Wow, I'm tired. A hard day's night. But I like them. I like them both very much. And so do you, don't you, Steve?
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. They're two of the best in the game. Don't come any better. Even Mother has to admit that.
I suppose you should have invited Mother.
Oh, but my best champagne. There wouldn't be a bottle left.
Well, there's not much now, is there?
No, so we'd better finish it up, hadn't we, Mrs. Peel?
Down in the street, George Neville turned up his coat collar against the chill dawn and quickened his walk. Near the corner of the mews, he stopped. A voice from the shadows said,
Neville. George Neville. Here.
What the devil?
Neville took a pace towards the voice. The figure of Rostov appeared near the blank wall like magic. Neville reached for the gun in his shoulder holster, but too late. Rostov had a gun trained on him and fired it several times. George Neville was spun round by the impact of the bullets. He fell among the dustbins. Steed and Mrs. Peel, hearing the shots, tore out of Steed's apartment.
George! George! Neville!
Steve? Steve, is he all right?
George, who did it?
George Neville managed to gasp out,
Rostov. Was Rostov.
and then he died in Steed's arms.
What is this new kind of cleanness women are discovering for their dishes?
It's sunlight cleanness.
What's sunlight cleanness?
A fresh, sparkling cleanness you've never known before.
Why, fresh
New Sunlight Liquid has real lemon juice.
and sparkling.
Sunlight Liquid is concentrated. It's got the greatest grease-cutting power to give you sparkling dishes every time.
And new sunlight liquid with real lemon juice means real economy. Just 1 teaspoonful washes a whole sinkful of dishes sparkling clean. Sunlight clean.
Once an Omo user, always an Omo user, like Mrs. Bodington.
My wash is beautiful, and I'm very proud of it. There's nothing like cold water Omo.
No dirt can stand up to Omo. Over 1 million housewives have proved it. It cleans best.
The Avengers. Listen every evening, Monday to Friday, to John Steed and Emma Peel, The Avengers, brought to you by the makers of Cold Water Omo.
All right, well, that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah, it was definitely the version that I was more used to. I was the John Steed, Emma Peel version. That's definitely the team up that I'm familiar with, so it was definitely unfamiliar ground for me. Enjoying it so far. I mean, it's definitely kind of interesting. Again, learning kind of with you guys, not super familiar with them, but again, not the Marvel Avengers, not going to see Iron Man, not going to see Captain America, not going to see Thor, no superpowers, just super spies. So without any further ado, let's get to the second episode, which, by the way, the first series is called Clean Getaway. It's a 6-part series. I know we normally do these in groups of 3, but we're going to kind of see where we're at after episode 3 and see if we may just kind of go for it and go for the whole storyline. Or see if we break it up into 2 and do 3 and 3. But yeah, let's kind of play that by ear and see how it goes. Until then, let's get into part 2.
Now, from the makers of Cold Water Omo,
George Neville, walking in the dawn light of the mews in which Steed lived, was stopped by a voice from the shadows.
Neville. George Neville. Here.
What the devil?
The impact of the bullet spun George Neville round, and he fell among the dustbins. John Steed and Emma Peel, hearing the shots, tore out of Steed's apartment.
George! George, what the... George!
Steve? Steve, is he...
George, who did it? It was Rostov.
The Avengers. John Steed and Emma Peel, The Avengers.
Cold Water Omo has really powerful cleaning action. Mrs. Senior discovered this.
My husband wears overalls to work, and they come back very sort of greasy and dirty. My girl actually does them by hand in the tub, but she uses cold water Omo, and they're fine, and they come up perfectly clean.
They say once an Omo user, always an Omo user.
I've stuck to cold water Omo, and I'm still using it. It's the strongest washing powder I've used.
Cold Water Omo cleans best.
Day in, night out, Benoliel woman, perfectly good, sweetly perfumed.
Now you can choose from Benolia's 5 new classic fragrances.
Episode 2 of this story, in which John Steed and Emma Peel find themselves up against prisoners who are their arch enemies, prisoners who are determined to get away. John Steed had held a small reunion with 2 of his best friends, Paul Ryder and George Neville. Mrs. Peel had also graced the occasion, which had been a great success, starting with cocktails and dinner and continuing with music and reminiscences until the early, or rather the late, hours of the morning. Paul Ryder had left first, walking home through the park. George Neville had left after helping Steed and Mrs. Peel drink champagne in the chilly light of dawn. Then, as Steed and Mrs. Peel were clearing away the party debris, they heard the shots from the street below. Neville had died in Steed's arms, naming his murderer. Later that morning, Steed rang Mrs. Peel at her apartment.
Hello?
Steed here.
Oh, Steed, I was hoping you'd ring. Do we meet this morning?
Not yet. I'm going down to Marlow, Old Hill Monastery. I'll call you from there later.
A monastery?
It's a cover for an international spy prison. The man who killed George Neville escaped from there. I'm hoping to pick up a lead.
You think this is serious, don't you? Neville being killed?
Just about the most serious thing that's happened yet. Could be the beginning. I'll keep in touch.
Oh, please do. I'll help all I can.
I know you will.
And Steed, I'm so sorry.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Down at Old Hill Monastery, Steed submitted his pass to a monk at the gate and was allowed into the main building. Colonel James rose from behind his desk in his office.
Oh, Steed, good to see you.
Colonel?
Take a seat.
I prefer to stand, if you don't mind. George Neville is dead. You know that.
I heard. Yes, sorry. He was a good friend of yours, wasn't he?
He was one of my best friends. Now, Colonel, why the devil didn't you warn him?
Warn him of what?
But Rostov had escaped.
The news of Rostov's breakout was circulated through all the normal channels.
Colonel, you should have warned George personally, and immediately it happened.
Steed, I'm sorry, I don't entirely follow you. Why George Neville in particular?
You don't know? You knew why Rostov was being held here in maximum security.
Of course. Well, he was involved in the great assassination plot. He, Lubin, and Esdorf.
Is that all you know about?
Steed, it is my duty to maintain security in this building. We have more than 100 of the most dangerous agents in the Western Hemisphere incarcerated here. I can't be expected to be familiar with every detail of their crimes.
Bureaucratic bungling.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, you can't be blamed, but someone should have made sure that you knew the whole story. Well, in this case, anyway.
I don't understand.
Colonel, the great assassination plot was very simple. 3 of their top agents were smuggled into England to kill 3 of our top agents. Each of them had a target, and Rostov's mission was to murder George Neville. Mission accomplished.
Steed, I had no idea.
I know. Well, the thing to do now is to stop it happening again. That means we've got to find out how Rostov escaped. Show me his cell, would you?
Yes. James made the necessary security precautions and took Steed down to the cells.
Well, I just don't know how it could have happened. Well, this place is built like a fortress, and you know how tight internal security is. No one can open a cell door without the right password, and that's changed every hour. Here we are. This is Rostov's cell. Baxter. This is John Steed, Lieutenant Baxter. He was first on the scene.
Tell me what happened, Dick.
I was making a routine check, and he wasn't in his cell. The cell was empty. I reported, got permission to enter.
And when you stepped in, you found he was here, eh, Baxter?
Steed moved around the cell, noting the barred window, testing it, testing the walls, going to the table which contained personal possessions. There were several magazines, most of them on natural history, a couple of bottles of liquor, an empty vodka bottle used as a flower vase with a single flower in it. Steed listened to Baxter at the same time.
I swear to you, sir, I did check through the scanner of the whole area, and he wasn't in here.
What about the bars?
He couldn't have been hiding there. He was just not in the cell.
And then?
Well, then he appeared right beside me. He just appeared, like
magic, eh, Baxter?
Well, yes.
All right, that'll do. You can go.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Steed.
His story's unacceptable, of course. Rostov must have been hiding in here somewhere, and yet I don't know. I wouldn't have thought Baxter was the type to make mistakes.
Plus the fact that there just isn't anywhere a man could hide in here. Could Rostov have tampered with the scanner?
Well, we've checked it. Results negative.
Let's see. Baxter entered here, searched around in the bathroom, then came back, and Rostov materialized here, right?
Right.
He clobbers Baxter, like that, and makes out of the door. Well, then where?
James led Steed down the passageway and round the corner. Facing them was a bricked-up wall.
Here. He disappeared right here.
Solid enough wall.
I told you. The whole thing's impossible.
And yet it happened, Colonel. It happened. The hourly check?
Half hourly. We've stepped things up since Rostov got away. I'll do a round myself.
Mind if I come along?
James led Steed down the passageway, and they inspected each cell. Outside Lubin's cell, they stopped.
Lubin, huh? Reading a magazine. Looks harmless enough.
Steed, you said each of these 3 men had an assigned target.
Yes, that's right.
Who was Lubin's?
Paul Ryder.
They stopped outside Esdorf's cell.
And his? Esdorf?
He was the ringleader, the most dangerous of the 3, and the toughest.
Yes, but his target. Who was he sent to kill?
We don't know. We interrogated him for weeks. We couldn't break him. He never told us who his target was. I'd like to talk to this man, if you don't mind.
Oh, very well.
Colonel James produced a walkie-talkie and called his office.
Oh, Edwards, open up Esdorf's cell, please.
Password, Colonel?
Damson.
Right, sir.
Esdorf, come in, Steed. Come in. I've been expecting you. After Rostov's escape, it was inevitable that you would come to question me. Let me look at you. You don't change.
Nor you?
Externally, perhaps not. You got great pains to ensure my physical fitness, but internally, Yes, inside that chance, very much. I'm resolute.
Well, you were always that.
More resolute. And bitter. Incredibly bitter. A drink.
Thank you.
It's good to see you, Steed. Good to know that you're still alive.
Oh, I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Let me give you a toast. To freedom. It's been a long, long time.
How do you occupy yourself? You have no books.
I think. I ruminate. I plan. I'm immensely proud of Rostov, of course. I trained him, you see. He's my protege, and he's free. And when Lubin has gone too...
Lubin?
Oh, he will be next. He can't keep us here much longer. First Rostov, then Lubin, and then me.
You're bluffing.
Perhaps. Or perhaps not.
Steed heard the warning bells. It could only mean another escape. He leapt to the door.
Let me out of here! You hear? Let me out! Let me out!
In the corridor, all was confusion. Colonel James was leaning against the wall, holding his head.
Who was it?
Lubin, I didn't see him.
Well, where is he?
He must have come up behind me, and he's heading for the east wing. Oh, don't worry. He can't get away. The men are converging on him. Where's the walkie-talkie? Edwards! Bright scarlet alert. Warn all exterior guards. Nobody and nothing to leave the ground without a triple check. Personal transport, supply wagons, a lot.
Right, sir. Colonel James, what is it? You got him? No. The men converged upon him from both sides of the east wing. They met, they heard his footsteps, and then they stopped. The prisoner just disappeared.
Emma Peel?
Mrs. Peel, it's an urgent job. Get to Paul Ryder. He's just moved and taken the house on the other side of the park. Now, I don't know the address, and he hasn't yet got a phone number, but get to him.
Message received, right. But why, Steve?
There's been another getaway. Now, get hold of Ryder and warn him. Tell him that Lubin is free. That's all. Tell him Lubin is free.
Right.
Get going, Mrs. Peel.
Out of the blue comes a new way to fight tooth decay for keeps. New fluoride for keeps toothpaste. It's the clear blue way to fight tooth decay, and it's the best anti-decay toothpaste around. New great tasting for keeps toothpaste.
The clear blue way to fight tooth decay for keeps. Great teeth are forever, great teeth are for keeps.
New family fluoride for keeps toothpaste.
They say once an Omo user, always an Omo user. Here's Mrs. Senior of Mbogantwini.
I've stuck to cold water, Irma, and I'm still using it. It's the strongest washing powder I've used.
There's no dirt or stains that can stand up to cold water Omo.
The Avengers.
Listen every evening, Monday to Friday, to John Steed and Emma Peel, The Avengers, brought to you by the makers of Cold Water Omo.
Episode 2 was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Again, not being very familiar with the source material, it's not like it's very different or jarring to me in any way. So just kind of being able to get into it and enjoy it. Cal, that's my kitty that got locked in the bathroom earlier. He again apologizes for causing an interruption. I told him it was okay. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys are enjoying everything. We're gonna head into episode 3 now, and at that point, we'll kind of determine if we're gonna go for a longer episode and do the entire 6-part storyline, or if we're just gonna do it as kind of a half and half and 3 episodes of each. So we'll kind of see how it goes after this one. And if anybody in the comments, or if you want to message in, if you want us to continue, message in. If even one person says, hey, yeah, keep going, we'll keep going. So up to you. We'll get this going on episode 3. So let's see what happens next.
Now, from the makers of Cold Water Omo.
There we go.
Now, from the makers of Cold Water Omo.
Emma Peel?
Mrs. Peel, Steed, it's an urgent job. Get to Paul Ryder. He's just moved and taken a house on the other side of the park. Now, I don't know the address, and he hasn't yet got a phone number. But find out from the ministry. Mother will know. You get to Paul Ryder as soon as you can, understand?
Message received. Right, Steve. But why, Steve?
Well, there's been another escape from here, the Old Hill Monastery. Now, you must get hold of Ryder and tell him that Lubin is out. You got it?
Lubin is out.
Lubin broke out of here a short while ago, and if he gets to Ryder, one thing is certain. He'll kill him.
The Avengers.
John Steed and Emma Peel, The Avengers.
Once an Omo user, always an Omo user. This is what Mrs. Lyons of Yellowwood Park, Durban, has to say.
It is the one powder that does everything. Well, for me, I know that.
Yes.
There's so many things that I've used and experimented with just to prove cold water Omo, really to put to the ultimate test, and I find that it's come up to all my expectations.
Yes. Cold water Omo cleans best.
Walls Ice Cream presents the new Pink Pussycat song.
We got strawberry and vanilla, top and hop. That's on inside. White milky chocolate the way you like. All over the outside. Where walls pink pussycat house.
Episode 3 of this story, in which John Steed and Emma Peel encounter another killing and receive another threat by an enemy to achieve a getaway. John Steed had been horrified when George Neville, one of his best friends and one of the finest secret agents in Britain, had been murdered. Steed knew who the killer was because Neville had managed to gasp out the name, Rostov, before he died. Rostov, Steed knew, was one of the 3 men sent to England to kill 3 top British agents in the case known as the Great Assassination Plot. The plot had failed, and the 3 men, Rostov, Lubin, and Esdorf, had been captured and imprisoned in Old Hill Monastery, a tightly guarded Gothic building near London. Steed had visited the monastery and been present when the second escape had been effected. Lubin had got away. Steed, knowing that Lubin's target was Paul Ryder, had hastened to the phone to alert Mrs. Peel. Mrs. Peel got on with the task straight away, but she had a little difficulty in finding Ryder's new address. It was a new house on the other side of the park. Ryder himself was doing a little decorating, standing on a ladder, painting a cupboard in the bathroom bright red, when he heard a voice calling,
Ryder. Ryder. Who is it? I'm coming.
Ryder climbed down the stepladder and walked into his bedroom. The voice called again, echoing round the half-empty house.
Ryder. I'm going to kill you, Ryder.
What the devil?
are you? And where are you?
Ryder walked from the bedroom into his sitting room.
I've come to kill you, Ryder. I'm in the bathroom now.
Ryder retraced his steps back into the bathroom.
I'm going to complete my assignment. But first, I'd like you to see me.
Ryder, who'd been staring around him at the white-tiled walls, suddenly found himself face to face with Lubin. Lubin held a gun in one hand. Ryder backed away, crashed into the stepladder as Lubin fired. Mrs. Peel had just arrived in her car outside the house when she heard the shot. She leapt from the car and tore up the driveway into the house. The front door was open. She rushed in.
Paul, where are you, Paul?
From under the bathroom door flowed a bright red trickle. Mrs. Peel stopped, and then, characteristically and courageously, kicked the door open and shot in.
Paul!
Mrs. Peel saw the dead man lying in a pool of red paint that oozed from the paint tin. She glanced around. There were footsteps in the paint, red footprints that led to about a foot from the wall. Mrs. Peel looked around with confusion, and then she heard...
What the devil?
There, in front of her eyes, were red footprints forming, walking through the open door and down the corridor, slowly fading as the paint wore off, fading into nothing. In Steed's apartment, later...
Paul Ryder. They got Paul Ryder. They got him.
I'm sorry, Steve.
And you were there seconds later.
Split seconds. I heard the shots ran into the house and...
No Lubin.
No Lubin. But he couldn't have got past me, Steve. It was just plain impossible.
The whole business is impossible. Lubin appears, then he disappears.
Steve, you don't believe in invisible men, do you?
No, I most certainly do not.
Steed walked across to his briefcase and opened it, producing a vodka bottle.
Well, there's only one course left, ma'am.
Steve, that isn't the answer.
Eh?
Alcohol won't help. You've got to be strong.
That it's a clue. Oh, that vodka. Intoxicating liquor. You know, I'm sure Lubin was a teetotaler.
Well, it's easy to check on. Bound to be on file, isn't it? Do you want me to check at the ministry?
Yes, well, I'd check at the monastery.
So, Steed went back to Old Hill Monastery and checked with Colonel James.
You know, I think you're right, Steed. Lubin didn't drink when he first came here. Then a month or two ago, he put in a request to allow him a liquor ration. Well, we let them have a bottle a month, you know. Do you think it might have some bearing upon things?
Perhaps. Don't see how. I imagine you check every bottle.
I do better than that. I sample them personally. This one's rather a good blend.
There's possibly nothing in it. Lubin probably took the drink through sheer boredom. Esdorf.
What about him?
He's the only one of the trio left, Colonel.
We've trebled the guard and make spot checks right round the clock.
Guards and checks haven't done much good so far.
For pity's sake, Steve, what more can I do? Chains and manacles? If we have to resort to that, we might as well...
Go in the other side, yes. Yes, I agree. I'd like to see Esdorf again, all the same.
When Steed entered the cell, Esdorf was doing some physical exercises.
35. Ah, Steed again.
I thought all you did was think.
Think and plan. But the plan remains a plan unless one has the physical prowess to put it into action.
You're still planning to run away from us, Esdorf?
Run? No, I don't think I shall run. I shall walk. A measured trade. I shall regard my freedom as one does an exotic drink, a fine cigar, or a beautiful woman. I shall savor it, a pace at a time. Oh, no, Mr. Steed. I shall not be running.
You put on a fine show of confidence.
I'm also being incredibly well-mannered, delicately avoiding taboo subjects. I'm leaving you to mention the unmentionable. It begins with the letter L.
Lubin?
Ah, you brought it out into the open. I wanted to spare your feelings. Cheers.
Cheers.
What was it you said on the last occasion? You're bluffing. Well, what that? And now you say I am putting on a fine show of confidence. Well, am I?
So you will escape?
I will escape.
And complete your assignment?
Yeah. It has kept me sane all the time I have been here. The thought that one day, I would do what I was sent here to do. That I wouldn't be cheated of it. You can depend upon it. I will complete my assignment.
And who is your target?
You would like to know, wouldn't you?
Well, you've been so forthcoming about your escape. I should...
You would like to know who I was assigned to kill. You tried to extract that from me before, during the weeks of interrogation.
I told them they wouldn't break you. Not you. You're too good at your job, Esdorf.
Oh, better than you, Steve. Had the circumstances been reversed, would you have broken? I don't think so. They're evenly matched, you and I.
Perhaps. Well, I shall leave you.
That's why they chose me, of course.
Pardon?
I said, that's why they chose me. It amuses me to tell you this now, Steve. It's you, Steve. You are my target. You are the man I am going to kill.
Well, of course, after finding that out, I'll assign a special bodyguard to you, Steve.
Oh, that won't be necessary, thank you, Colonel.
Yeah, but if it's you Esdorf is after, if he gets out...
Then it's up to you to see that he doesn't get out, isn't it? Yes, the answer could lie with Dodge.
Dodge? You mean Professor Percival Dodge? The man who vetted this place and gave it its final clearance? The ministry's pet escapologist?
That's right. He's what you might call a scientific Houdini. He's bound to have a few ideas tucked away. I'll go and see Dodge.
And so Steed did. In the Ministry of Technology, the sign on the door read, Prof. Percival Dodge, Testing Division, keep out. Steed entered.
Professor Dodge?
There was a sound from inside a large wall safe. The safe door swung open. The professor stepped out with the casualness of a man leaving a taxicab.
Ah, Steed, how are you?
Fine. And you, Professor?
In excellent health. Yes. I always say that if you can break out of a safe, you can invariably get in.
Oh, invariably.
I'm glad you agree. If we put our secrets in there, we might as well post them to the enemy. No, the safe's no good.
The professor reached out onto his desk, seized a rubber stamp, and stamped at the top of the safe, Reject.
When Dodge says it's secure, only then can you be sure. Yes, that's 3 safes they've reckoned lived up to the name. And they don't. After that pile of locks, I unpicked them with a hairpin in 10 minutes flat. What have we got here? Handcuffs. Says they're escape-proof. Care to try them on, Steve?
Professor Dodge, without waiting for Steed's consent, slapped the handcuffs round his wrists. Steed looked a bit helpless.
Professor Dodge, it's about the Old Hill Monastery.
Oh, yes? My best piece of work. I have the plans here, strangely enough. Perfect planning. No one could escape from there.
Rostov and Lubin managed it.
What? Get away?
Got away. That's why I'm here.
That's impossible. It's escape-proof.
Escape-proof? Like these?
Steed twisted his wrists slightly and dropped the handcuffs onto the professor's desk. Then he reached for the rubber stamp and slapped it down on the Old Hill Monastery plans.
Reject, Professor? Any idea why?
Housewives everywhere are discovering new Lux Cream of Lemon dishwashing liquid. Have you tried it, madam?
Yes, I like it. It's kind for my hands.
And you?
Yes. Gets my dishes sparkling clean.
And you, madam?
And no, I haven't tried it yet.
If you haven't yet tried new Lux Cream of Lemon dishwashing liquid, now's the time. New Lux Cream of Lemon really cares for your hands and gets your dishes sparkling clean. Lux Cream of Lemon at your shop now.
So many women tell us that once an Omo user, always an Omo user. Women like Mrs. Clark of East London.
This is certainly the one that I've stuck to. And it's all I get now.
Yes, cold water Omo cleans best. Over 1 million housewives have proved it.
The Avengers.
Listen every evening, Monday to Friday, to John Steed and Emma Peel, The Avengers, brought to you by the makers of Cold Water Omo.
Okay, I enjoyed episode 3. And I was kind of hoping somebody would have a comment saying, hey, continue on. But since we didn't, we're going to call it at episode 3 here. And we're going to continue with the second half of this storyline on its episode 2. So again, thank you for tuning in with me, those of you who are here live. And for those who are coming in later, again, thank you too. It's been fun doing these live shows since we kind of moved everything over to Rumble as our main channel. There's a certain amount of live streaming that we have to do, so it's caused us to change some existing shows to a live format and also create some new shows that would fit a live format, and even to have a chance to bring in some concepts that we had explored in the past and didn't get a chance to do for different reasons, but now I have more of an opportunity to. So appreciate everybody coming along for the ride, and I will see you next time on Heroes of the Golden Age.
They left from the pages in capes and flight, shadows of justice in the dead of night, silver and spandex from a time gone by, lifting us higher as they touch the sky. Heroes of the golden age fight the fight, blazing bright in the neon light. Beneath the stars we light our way, legends live in the golden age today. Blazing through cosmic dust, ray guns flashing in a world of rust. Masked Avengers with the daring flair, saving the future like they always dare. Heroes of the golden age fight the fight, blazing bright in the neon light. Beneath the stars we light our way, legends live in the golden age today. Can't hold them, they're bold and true, from reels of the past to a screen near you. Golden whispers in electric glow, watch the champions steal the show. Heroes of the golden age fight the fight, blazing bright in the neon light. Beneath the stars they light our way, legends live in the golden age today.